man in me, but I am glad to be standing here clean with a clear view, living heavenly.
I definitely think high school students go through a ton of stress. I think high school is probably like one of the most stressful times in people's lives, especially mine. Just like all the stuff that you have to do just to do like the bare minimum of high school. You have like maybe like 1 hour left for yourself. Like when you add in like just like being able to like eat or like hang out with friends or do something that just like kind of keeps you sane.
Yes, I do think high school students go through stress. I think home life could be a big part of it, or schoolwork, or class, or bullying even.
Yeah, because they have a lot of homework and that can stress them out. And then maybe if they're getting bullied, that could also put a lot of pressure on someone.
I definitely think they experience stress. I think that people are so worried about what people expect of them. Like they got that homework assignment to turn in, they got that that event on the weekend, they got that girlfriend they gotta look after or whatever. And it's like it all adds up. And we, from my personal experience, it's been kind of hard dealing with taking care of what people expect of me and also being able to stay who I am.
I think school in general, even college, elementary, it's a stressful time because there's so much pressure that if you don't finish school, if you don't get an education, you won't get a good job, and if you don't get a good job, you're not going to make money. And it's very, very, very important to society that each student gets good grades and succeeds. And it's stressful for the straight A students who are in AP classes and stay up late to finish their homework. And it's also stressful for the kids who have to try a lot more to even get a B. And there's also home life.
I believe that high school students have a lot of stress, not only just with schoolwork, especially with the curriculum that they're changing up. It's very stressful going from the old way of having it to the new way of doing things. That was very stressful when I was in high school. Also, just friendships getting lost, that type of stress, the whole social media, bullying.
Like now in adulthood, I feel like long-term stress about what I'm going to do in my future and all this. And back then it was like short-term, like what happens if this girl I like doesn't like me back?
There's so much pressure like put on kids because they're told that like what you do in high school kind of defines how the rest of your life is going to go, and having to deal with all that stress. A lot of kids don't do that great in high school. Like it's really hard to excel, especially when there's added stresses like home life and everything. Like not everyone has the perfect home life, and I think you kind of need a really good home life to be able to succeed in high school, because you need space to study, you need to not be stressed out about going home, because that's kind of where you need to do your homework and everything, and like worrying about stuff when you're trying to like take a test is like, it's really hard. I couldn't pass tests just because I got so anxious about like other things in my life.
I see a lot of my peers handling stress with just kind of masking it with substances, and which is alcohol, weed, and even it can get as bad as doing heroin. And it's just masking it really, but it makes you feel like it's okay. And I think that's one of the main ways that I see a lot of people coping.
They would either kind of like hold it all in and not really know how to handle stress, or I would see a lot of my friends like drinking or partying or like doing drugs to be able to like mellow out, I guess.
Because if you're going through something, some people might say that drinking makes you forget about it, or smoking makes you forget about it, but it really doesn't. You can do other things to get your mind off of it. Like sometimes you can just go to the park and play, or exercise, or eat chocolate.
I see a lot of my peers using drugs or alcohol to relieve their stress.
Some of my peers in high school dealt with stress, extreme stress, by smoking, you know, drugs and alcohol usually, like when it's extreme. I was kind of in the group of people where that was the normal thing, though. I wasn't really part of the group of people that didn't. So that's just like my experience.
Well, a couple ways that I cope with stress would be I like to write and just express how I feel with words. And then another way would be just laying down, listening to music, just being alone, being able to think about how I feel and what's bugging me and different ways to just fix the problem.
Music, man. It's just picking up that pen and forcing yourself to pick up. Even when you're so depressed, you don't have that motivation. It's finding your way back to who you are. It's picking up that pen and being, for me anyways, it's picking up that pen and being able to find a way to express it no matter what.
And I like to set goals. And when I set goals, it puts in perspective where I want to be and what I need to get there. And it makes it seem a lot less stressful and a lot more worth it for me. So that's a unique thing for me. But I think music is always a good coping mechanism. Writing, anything you're passionate about. If you like taking pictures, if you like skateboarding or snowboarding, just find something that makes you happy. And I feel like that is the best coping mechanism that there is.
Well, I danced. That's how I coped. So I danced for almost all my high school years except for my senior year. But a lot of sports. That's what I would say. Doing exercise really helps. Or like some people draw, some people write. So it depends on the person, but a positive outlet.
Personally, for me, I think the best way I always cope with stress was just like putting my headphones in and listening to music. Like that's the first thing I did when I woke up. Like I would just turn on my music, and it kind of never stopped. Like as soon as I got out of a class or as soon as we were able to do like free study periods, I would put my headphones in and it would just kind of like mellow me out a bit, I guess. I guess another way is probably sports, but I mean you also have to do practice and stuff, which cuts into a lot of school time, so it's kind of, I guess, like a double-edged sword. Like you do sports to like de-stress, but it also adds stress. So, and I guess hanging out with friends, just being able to like talk to people who feel the same way, especially since you make a lot of your friends in high school when you're that age.
Positive ways to cope with stress would be, I would think music. That's like my go-to thing. Running, exercising, sports, extracurricular activities, something after school to, be a part of something, I would say, be a part and do things with other people.